everyone. This is Luba Diasamidze, the founder of Upthink Coaching. Upthink Coaching is a coaching and a coach training company. We are based in China and we work with clients and students internationally. In this series of coach conversations, we are exploring different coaching approaches and different coaching niches. And today we have Nerice Gietel, a career coach, ICF certified, with ACC credential, who's based in Hong Kong, and Nerice will tell us more about career coaching today. Hi, Nerice. What a pleasure it is to have you here.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Where do we begin? So yes, my name is Nerice Gietel. I started my coaching company in Hong Kong 7 years ago, so in 2017. And I came to coaching after a career which consisted of lots and lots of changes. I was very much looking for what my thing is throughout since I finished university. I studied interdisciplinary social sciences at the University of Utrecht at master's level. And after that, I worked as a social worker and in social care for, gosh, I don't remember, 7 or 8 years. And from there, I transitioned to HR business partnering and recruitment, using my master's degree in human resource development and consultancy as a vehicle to do that, because I did that part-time, was working full-time as well. And from there, I actually did my first coaching qualification in 2016. And the idea behind that was to use this training in executive coaching to have better chances of getting other jobs in HR business partnering. But then we ended up moving to Hong Kong. And I thought, oh, well, this is a new place and an opportunity for me to actually do something with the coaching in itself. And that's how I started my coaching business.
Sounds great. Sounds exciting. You know, when I asked our coaches in training and our alumni, which coaching niches do you want to hear about? Who shall we invite to these conversations? Many of them said career coach. They're so interested about career coaches and what they do. So we'd love to hear from you. So what does a career coach do?
My initial training was actually in executive coaching and mentoring. And but the interesting thing with all the different labels of coaching niches is that, you know, even as an executive coach, what you're doing is working with people on often within a professional setting, right? So unless you're a life coach, you're working with people at work related to specific skills or personal development areas, or professional development areas within the workspace. And so I actually, when I started my coaching business in Hong Kong, I focused on supporting women, professional women who've had a career break to return to work. And so I didn't call myself a career coach as such. It was more going back to work coach, because the issues that people present with are so areas around self-awareness in the sense of wanting to know what they want to do, so figuring that out. And the more I worked with my clients, the more I realized that, so besides understanding what they want to do and what's best fit for them in the new stage of their life, often they also needed the practical support around how do you write a CV, how do you use LinkedIn as part of your job search. So my practice really developed based on the needs that I was then identifying and continue to identify amongst lots of my clients. So personally, as a career coach, I do the whole spectrum, if you like. I don't know if in your coaching training, you also talk about the iceberg, where you know, on the top you see is behaviors and skills and things that are externally visible, and underneath the water surface there are values, beliefs, ways of being, right at the bottom. And I work with my clients across the whole iceberg. So I do the end-to-end from getting to know the self to behaviors, actions that you need to take out there that are visible to the work in order for you to succeed in your career in whichever part of it. Sorry, that's a lot. But yes, so the focus is very much set at the beginning of engagement with each individual client.
Do you mostly work with job seekers, those who are in the active phase or looking for a job, or maybe those who want to change jobs, or those who have some life changes, for example, retirement or relocation or going back to work, and they need some career support? Can you tell us a bit more about the range of clients or maybe client requests that you work with?
Yeah, so in the past year or so, it's been mostly working with job seekers because I'm a consultant coach for LHH, but based in the Middle East. So this career transition company, they specialize in supporting clients who are going through career transitions and who are getting this support from their companies when they are being transitioned out of the positions. Companies pay for these members of staff to get the support they need to find their next opportunity. And quite a few of my clients currently come from LHH. So yes, so in that sense, and I also work at a university with master students in social sciences and humanities who are looking for their often first job, first full-time employment. So yes, in that sense, at the moment, the majority of my work is with job seekers, but at completely different stages of the career, which I find exciting and interesting as well. I like the variety. The bulk of the work switches depending on who I'm working with. So I've also was a consultant for a couple of years for a company that supports the partners of people who are expatriated for their jobs. So professionals who are being expatriated, their partners often also need some support in terms of finding themselves. And part of that can be finding a job in the new place that they move to. So I provide that support as well. And that's also an area of expertise, but it's marketing yourself as that only, that there is a challenge there because people don't necessarily. So this is the whole thing with coaching in general, and especially when you're focusing on selling to individuals. There is a big piece around educating people and understanding that the investment may be worthwhile for helping them to achieve their goals more efficiently and in a much more focused way. So my emphasis changes depending on who comes my way, what I'm offering lands with. And and I've been quite flexible in that sense. And and the big part of it is setting my own priorities in terms of, okay, what do I want to focus on? Do I want to spend a lot of my time on social media platforms or whichever other way marketing myself? Or is it easier for me to, or easier, do I want to do the coaching and therefore it may be more efficient for me to work with a company that sends client to me, that takes away that pressure of marketing.
Right. I like that we are going in so many different directions because I think a coach's job has lots of layers, right? And just understanding the complexity that comes with practice setup, choosing your clients, making multiple decisions, whether to niche down or stay, within a larger niche like career coaching, right? But not maybe niching down too much. And there are lots of decisions to make, and I'm happy that we are having these conversations. Well, I have lots of questions. I'd like to go back to that iceberg that you mentioned, because this is how you explain about the various coaching requests that your clients bring. Just to make it a little bit clearer for beginner coaches who want to explore whether career coaching is something they'd love to do, what could be some examples of different client requests or maybe even session topics across this iceberg?
Okay. Oh, I like that. So one of them, let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So one of the client requests that I had was an individual who was working for a company, had been working for a couple of years, and found that they weren't being themselves within that environment, that the professional that they knew themselves to be in the past wasn't being expressed in that environment. So the coaching engagement with this particular individual was around understanding what was going on with them. So understanding their environment, but also understanding how they were responding to the environment, the stories that they were telling themselves about the signals that they were picking up from the environment, and how that impacted their behavior, which fed into the way that they in turn were being treated by the people, their colleagues, right? So once we were able to do that, so this was not even that long, an engagement of 8 sessions, but throughout those 8 sessions, they came to see the situation for what it is, but also see how their behavior was feeding into them being treated as a much more senior person than they, not senior, junior person than they actually were. And over time, they came to realize that, okay, whilst, yes, okay, there's stuff in the environment which is affecting this, but I still have the control over how I respond and how I go into meetings and how I, with the mindset, my mindset going into meetings can impact the way that I show up, and therefore the feedback that I will start to get as well. Yeah, so that's very much working on a career-related topic, but at the bottom of working underneath the surface in order to be able to change behavior. And then at the other end, I get a lot of requests from individuals, and this is often people who are actively looking for work, but they're feeling a little bit stuck. There, the work again can be a combination of getting them to understand themselves, but I've developed an online program which enables me to offer smaller packages in terms of one-on-one coaching to my clients. So they do the bit of understanding themselves through my online program, and then we have very intensive sessions, so 2 sessions maybe, quite extensive, focused on job search strategies, right? So they come back having had a better idea of, okay, I think I know the direction now. And whatever questions they fire at me, is it LinkedIn? So we incorporate a LinkedIn review in that. CVs, I provide guidance on how to best write a resume for ATS, so for the applicant tracking systems. How you use networking as part of finding a job, having an understanding of the different communities in Hong Kong. I provide very practical advice on that end as well. So so that's I would guess the top of which in ICF in some sense wouldn't be considered as pure coaching, I think, right? This kind of advice giving. Yeah, so there's a mix there. But I do, as I said, what the clients need. And I try as much as possible wherever to incorporate ICF principles. But what I've learned very much is that the most important thing is to be in service of clients.
Thank you for sharing this. This was very important to hear. And that's exactly one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with a career coach, just to see how we can use the best of 2 approaches, consulting strategies as well as pure ICF model coaching. I guess as long as the client is clear what's going to happen, as long as we are explaining and setting expectations and telling them we're going to use a coaching approach in this way, and we're going to use consulting or direct advice in this situation, then it is ethical and it's definitely acceptable.
Absolutely. And when it comes to career coaching, I think clients often come with the expectation around being told how to do, being given, you being a consultant as much as anything. And at times, so it's all about contracting. So in that sense, you are using an ICF approach, which is around empowering the client to say, okay, so this is the range of what I can offer you. Where do you think you need the most help, or what would be the most useful for you in this moment?
Speaking of expectations, how is the ROI of career coaching measured? Is it about a person finding a new job that they like, or are there any other measures of success?
That's a good one. It's definitely not about finding a job because, and I always tell my clients this at the beginning of an engagement. You find yourself a job, right? That's not a pill that you take, right? Coaching, and then, oh, this problem is solved. I have the job. That's not the outcome. The outcome is around supporting my clients to maximize whatever they have in terms of their skills, thoughts, behaviors, or whatever. So helping them to focus them as much as possible to achieve the goals and the outcomes that they want. So it's providing you, you bringing all my expertise, not just from coaching, but also my many career changes that I've had in the past and how I navigate, so it's a lot of learning, a lot of my management skills that I've used at some point. So all of this, I bring them to the surface to help my clients basically have a shortcut between the issues that they're having and finding the solution that they're looking for. Ultimately, yeah, the job, I'm not in an interview session with you. I'm not the one having the conversation. So you get yourself, but there are ways, yeah, but we can look at how you present yourself, how you talk, the mindset that you go in to help you put your best self forward in the process of finding a job.
Great. So you have a lot of HR experience, Nerice, and I think early in our conversation you said that you chose this path to utilize the vast experience that you had in the area. If a new coach is considering a career coaching niche, is it a must to have a background in HR, recruitment, or anything similar? Or is it a nice to have? Are there any special skills new coaches absolutely must possess in order to start doing career coaching? Or those skills are just nice to have and they can catch up on those skills and competencies as they move forward? What's your take on that?
I wouldn't say that having the HR background is essential. If anything, one of the things that I believe actually supports what I'm able to bring to sessions and with my ability to deal with certain topics is the experience that I had as a manager. So very early on in my career, I was promoted to manage a domestic and sexual violence advice service, which required me to not only build a team, but train the team and all of that. And that experience I then also sort of combined with the masters that I did in human resource development and consultancy, which I guess is closest to learning and development. So for me personally, as a coach, what I bring is all of these other experiences that are not necessarily the work that I did in HR. I think different coaches can bring whatever the experience you have. If you've got, I think experience of working and navigating workspaces, that in itself can be very, very valuable. And the benefit, again, for me personally, is that I've worked in lots of different environments. I've worked for the government, I've worked for charities, I've worked for private companies. So having seen a range of things is what I can bring to my sessions with clients. Whereas there are other people who transition after a corporate career, perhaps in one sector, and become executive coaches, but then they tend to have a specialism around the industry that they work in. Fellow consultants that work at LHH, I haven't gone through all of their LinkedIn profiles, but what I know from the MD is that there are lots of different people. So people come at delivering career coaching services from many different angles.
That's great to hear. That's very encouraging, actually.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, it's very I mean people do it, right? So it's the reality that different people call themselves career coaches. I think ultimately it's about the client is the individual as a client doing their work around searching for what kind of people they think would best help them. But
Right.
I don't think anything should stop people from doing it.
Any tips or suggestions you can give to coaches who are just discovering this niche of career coaching? So if they want to become career coaches, any tips from you? What should they be doing, or what should they look at? What decisions do they need to make?
I think the best way to explore when it comes to coaching, and which you need to do anyway as often as part of the ICF week, is to coach, to offer your services to people and see how, yeah, find out for yourself how you feel within that. If you're feeling that you can bring something that adds value for the clients in, that helps the clients achieve their goals. It's about exploring by doing, testing and trying, and yeah, I don't think you can read up on it or anything. Ultimately, it's about the doing and finding out through doing.
So just be brave and dive into that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, sorry, I know and sometimes it's easier said than done, right? Because sometimes I think I just did it, but that's not true. I did a lot of training before I did anything, right? So every time I changed careers, there was a full, from to move from social care to HR and recruitment. I did a full master's. Do it in the way that makes sense for you as well. I think there's just doing it, but also recognize what you feel most comfortable doing. But don't just spend all your day just doing more and more qualifications randomly. That's not necessary. Sometimes you can, especially if you're an ICF accredited coach, and tell people you're able to coach them on career-related topics and see how that goes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you'd like to add or share on, any topics related to career coaching? Like a message from you?
A message. I feel that career coaching is incredibly rewarding, and yeah, it's also very fulfilling if you can make your work through career coaching. And the beauty of it is that you can support people in their careers throughout their careers. There are different ways that you can be of service to individuals. Whilst I'm seeing similarities, I continue to see similarities in some of the things that clients struggle with, whether they are just starting their careers to when they're thinking of changing or what they're going to do next in their 50s. Yeah, it's very enriching. It's a way to build relationships and help people navigating one of the most important elements of life, in the sense of we spend a lot of time at work. So which is important to make sure that you're making the right decisions and all of that, right? So when you think about it, so although we say life is not just about work, well, we spend a lot of time of our adult life working, most of us. So if you're able to help that time count for people, then it's a beautiful area to work in.
Thank you. Have you had any challenging clients? Have you faced any challenges as a career coach in terms of client requests?
Challenges. I think it's always around contracting, because sometimes even if you tell a client, I'm not going to do it for you, I'm going to support you in doing it for yourself and all of that, sometimes there will be different expectations, but not often, to be honest with you. I can't think of really big issues that one person comes to mind now, but yeah, that was one of hundreds. So of people that I've coached that were clearly, even though I explained things, I wasn't well enough for this person, my explanation of what the expectations were. So yeah, but nothing. No, I think, yeah, as I said, the important thing about articulating is that I'm not going to find a job for you. Right? You go to a headhunter, but even a headhunter doesn't find the job for you, because ultimately it's about how you fit with the job, right? It's not only in your hands. So yeah. So
Yeah, it's definitely important for clients to take responsibility for their part of the work.
Exactly. It's also empowering, right? To know that, oh, okay, this career coach didn't get me the job, or even this headhunter, I got the job because of everything that I have to bring. because of my
Yeah,
skills, my experiences, and the person that I am.
yeah, that I truly believe this is one of the biggest takeaways that an
Right.
individual can get from coaching is
Exactly.
this altered self-perception, that they see
Exactly.
themselves in a more positive way, as more capable, more resourceful, more creative, more courageous, and they keep this attitude, they keep this mindset.
Exactly. Exactly. So yes, that's it.
Thank you so much, Nerice. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I'm not a career coach myself, and it was really insightful to hear the answers to the questions. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for inviting me.